Hello and welcome to Ink Heaven. This is Darla Olson helping you to create stamping happiness for yourself and your loved ones. I have a gorgeous wedding card project for you today that I recently shared in a Facebook Live. Enjoy!
And I will show you the wedding card. So this is the wedding card. And it's very easy. And it sparkles a lot. Because I am in this huge Wink of Stella kick right now. I can't, it's terrible. I've gone through 2 tubes of it already. And I water the stuff down like crazy when it gets to the end and stretch it out. But this is very pretty and it's not very hard. So, you don't even have to cut cardstock for it. So really all you need is the, and these carried over from Christmas. So they're still available. They are called the silver foiled edged cards and envelopes. So I used these at Christmas. They were a lifesaver because I did some of those Christmas tree cards with the what's that stuff? The sparkly stuff. Boy, I have nose profile. Yeah, that'll keep me humble too because I've got, a nice small nose profile, right? Oh, thanks, Carla. But yeah, so you just start with that, and then you just take a Whisper White card front, and you take this gorgeous country floral folder, and I'll give you a tip. So I actually, most of the time, when I spritz for these folders, I do not actually spritz the cardstock. I actually spritz the folder. And I'll tell you why. Because it seems like every time I spritz the cardstock, I get it way too wet. I'm just a generous spritzer. So I usually use the spritzer and I spritz the folder and I spritz one side and then I close it and I just tap it a little bit so that those water droplets end up being on both sides of the folder. And then I stick my paper in there and run it through the Big Shot. So, and I'm still very careful. I try to, when I spritz the folder, I still hold it quite a bit of ways away and try to not get it, soaking wet, and just spritz it a little bit because really all you want is just a little bit of water to soften the fibers in the cardstock so that it doesn't rip it. You can, it does. This one, I have run this one through without spritzing it. So it's not too horrible. You do get, you can get a little bit of rough edges, a little bit of a tearing look, but it's not too bad. And I didn't spritz it when I did my make and take bags for the open houses for you guys. So, but that's kind of a real light, the bags, are a real light craft paper. And I'm going through both layers because I don't open up the bag. I usually just emboss the entire bag. So I didn't have to do that for those. Yes, spritzing does help, Carla. It really does. And I found out today, because I tried to cheat on with the corrugated folder and not spritz it. And I had a heart that came out in little strips. So it basically corrugated my paper into neat little strips. And I had a heart that was in pieces. So, because I was finishing up those heart things that so I'll show you. So I was finishing up these heart boxes. And finishing up the insides. So I did the glassine paper hearts for the top, and then I have my candy on the inside, which, let's see if I can, but anyway, so this one was one I kind of cheated and didn't redo. But you can see how it split it. But I wanted that corrugated heart on the bottom just to kind of give it a little bit of a layer. And then I put the little glassine over that on the bottom. And then I have some little peanut clusters on the inside. So anyway, but I found out you can't cheat on those. You have to spritz them. So no cheating on that corrugated folder. Okay. So anyway, I spritz my folder and then I run it through the Big Shot, and of course then you get this beautiful, gorgeous, everybody's going to want this folder because it's just absolutely just gorgeous. The detail is exquisite. It's beautiful. That's all I can say is it's beautiful. So, but that's what you get. And I haven't played too much yet with as far as coloring it. But I'm sure there are ways to color it. Probably one of the ways that I probably will end up doing coloring a little bit is probably more of a highlight coloring, probably with the sponge dauber and picking out one of these flowers to highlight or something. I don't know. Since I haven't played with it a whole lot yet, it's hard to say. But what I did, this you can see has all this sparkle. So on this one I didn't actually spatter. I just took and just kind of went over all these little polka dots with the, whoops, and you can see I'm leaking a little bit. I just filled it up with water, so it wants to come out fast. Probably should have done my spattering on something else first. There, now it's slowing down. Oops, nope. So it's doing something I don't want it to do right now. I had squeezed it, and I probably should have brushed it or wiped it off on a paper towel or something. So anyway, I just kind of dabbed that over these little polka dots. And ordinarily, if you do it, you don't get big globs of it like that. But I just kind of went over them. So that is a little time consuming, but you wouldn't have to do that. Or you could do the spattering so that it just is all over. But I just kind of wanted to be selective on the background and just do the little dots. So there's that. Hi, Dawn. Good to see you here tonight. And then this just goes on our card base that already has the silver edge. So that's right there. And then I used the stitched ovals from an older item, the stitch shape framelits. So, and it's the largest oval. So that's kind of my background. And that I did spatter. So, and this, I spatter a lot of stuff with this stuff because I love the look. So I just take the Wink of Stella and take the brush into the cap and spatter it. And I do try to keep it low because, as you can see, it actually has kind of a wide spatter. So if I were to, normally when I do a card, I actually do more than one. I do things in pairs a lot because I feel like if I'm cutting the paper, I might as well do two. If I need three, I do four. So I probably would have covered this whole thing with ovals and done them all at once so that I could not waste all this extra spatter. But this dries fairly quick. So that is going to go on end up going on our background, and it will go on our background with dimensionals. And then the cake stand is just with the silver foil. And so this is the cake punch. And I am going to just do the stand because I don't need the cake in silver. Now in the stamp set there is a coordinating stamp to go with the cake stand, so you're not stuck doing it in solid colors. You can do it, stamp it on colored cardstock and punch it out, or you can stamp it on white cardstock and color it and punch it out. So there are different ways to use the cake stand. And then we are going to stamp our cake. I'm going to put that there so I don't lose that. And we will use the Stamparatus for that. Oops. Trying to have a fight with my magnets here. Did you hear it? They hit each other. Okay. So, I need to think about this. Okay, so this will work. So, that's why I cut this in a long strip, because I don't want to cut out the cake stand again. I don't want to waste the paper for that. And so this is a 1.5 inch strip of cardstock. So I probably can do 3 cakes on here. So we'll do that. I'm going to try to not waste this, so I can probably get 3 cakes out of here. And I went with this cake here, but you could do the same card, I think, with this cake here, because both of these have flowers that coordinate with that country floral folder. All of these flowers work perfectly fine with those. So, and you can see I already have a template in here because sometimes that comes in handy. Here it is. So we're going to put that here. So we have room for one more cake on here. And I stamped it in the gray granite because I wanted a softer look than black. So you can see. And the gray granite isn't quite, what's the word I want to say, bright? Yes, you do, Joy. And that is a freebie with a $50 order. So, this folder. So I want to say Smoky Slate is our other gray, and I want to say that Smoky Slate is like brighter and maybe just a little lighter, where this gray granite is just a little darker, but it's still a soft gray. So get that the cake on the Stamparatus here, and bring back my cake thing there so I can have that flat, and ink up my cake. And there we have cake. And I probably should clean that off and put it away, because I'm good at losing these kind of stamps too. I can't remember if I told you guys on the daisy set I lost one, and then I found it when we moved. So it had stuck to the outside of a stamp case, and I didn't notice it, and it was a retired stamp set case, so it got put down underneath in my cupboard. And I looked high and low for that thing, and I finally broke down and ordered the stamp set again. So drive myself crazy. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually color this with Wink of Stella before I punch it out, because it's just a little easier to color when you have a little bit, a little something to hold on to. So what I did when I colored with Wink of Stella is I focused on just the part that I thought was frosting, and I avoided the flowers. So I just did Wink of Stella in these areas outside of the flowers. And what that kind of does is once it's on the card, when you can see it in person, I don't know how much it shows up on camera, but in person, it actually kind of makes the flowers kind of pop out a little bit. It makes them a little bit more noticeable. And plus, it adds more sparkle to the card, which on wedding cards, of course, is always pretty. So we'll line this cake up in the punch. And if my hand would quit moving, I could say punch. Okay, that's pretty good. We'll quit torturing myself over that and punch it out. Okay, so I have this sense of symmetry that, that just, it's not, my husband laughs at me sometimes. He'll say things like, "You didn't just do that, did you?" And I'll say, yeah. I'll go move something, something that doesn't bother anybody in the room but me. Okay, I'm telling on myself now. All right, so now we have our cake and our oval, and I'm going to grab my rhinestones, and we'll just finish putting it together. So the oval is put on with the dimensionals, and I try to use all of my dimensionals up. So I think I have this one cut already. So I'm going to I cut along the sides and use the sides up too. So So that should be good for that. And Eric didn't make much progress on the stamp room. He started working on drawer fronts a little bit yesterday. But I think he had something going on with somebody he works with, another soldier, I think, that's going to be retiring and leaving soon. So he went over to their place yesterday. So he hasn't gotten a lot further, so I don't have anything to show you on that front yet. But hopefully soon I'll have more exciting things to show. So we have that. Now we can put our cake on there. And this part I put on with glue dots. It's just easier than trying to fit. You could, of course, use glue, but I just did glue dots on this part of the cake stand right there. And I'm looking at my other card, but I think I actually kind of set it on here when I made it the first time, just to kind of see where the center was going to be, as far as top and bottom of the card. But since I have one done, I have one to reference. And now I have really sparkly fingers. And then I just use glue dots to set the cake on the cake stand, like that. And I haven't quite decided what I'm going to put on the inside. I do have an idea for the envelope, which I'll show you that. Where is my... Oh, here it is. So my spatula thingy. Grab my rhinestones. Take your pick tool. It actually has a name. Woo! And I just played tiddlywinks with that rhinestone. I'm not quite sure if that landed. Felt it hit my head, actually. It could be in my hair somewhere. I'll have to check the mirror. Okay, so there's one. And there's two. I don't know. I haven't quite decided where I really like them the best. Maybe I'll put that one, try it up a little higher on this card here. And one up here. And there we have our wedding cake. So it makes a really pretty wedding card. And I am going to be doing a class with the piece of cake stamp set. Hopefully when I come back, and it will be before my open house. Thanks, Deborah. I'm not sure yet if it's going to be on Wednesday or Thursday. Normally my classes have always been on Wednesdays, but and this is, I'm not going to do a mega class, Joanne. So I learned from that. It's too long. It takes too long. So, but I'm going to show you my, so this is just going to be ordinary, normal, regular class, but we will focus on birthday cards with the piece of cake. I've actually got the class designed already and everything. So I'll show you my envelope idea here. And insides are kind of hard sometimes, because one of the things is I don't like to do them until I know who I'm giving them to. But But every once in a while I get on a wild hair and do the insides just because, you know, I have this idea and I want to do it and I like it. So on the envelope, oh, I have this on the other opposite side. No wonder it doesn't feel right. I'm going to use the Mr. and Mrs. and that's just going to go down here in the corner. And then there is these little flowers right here. And I'm going to place those because they looked like they would fit. Oh, and these little things want to stick to my fingernails. Look like it would fit very nicely right over the top of Mr. and Mrs. So I'm actually going to see if this helps a little bit because, yeah, there. Unless I play tiddlywinks with my stamps like I did my rhinestones. Okay, so that is what I'm going to put on the outside of the envelope is Mr. and Mrs. And we're just going to do that in the gray granite ink again. We could do it in basic black since it's maybe we should. Well, I don't know that the Memento is actually waterproof. I'm not sure about that. It says it's water resistant when dry. So let's just do this in black. So this is actually the first envelope that I've done because it was just an idea. So I think that's inked up good. So what we'll do is we'll just put that in the corner of the envelope like that. And we'll go ahead and, because I'm in love with Wink of Stella and I'm on a Wink of Stella kick, we're just going to Wink of Stella the flowers on the envelope. There we go. So we have our card and our envelope, and then I just need to decide what I want to put on the inside when I know who it's for. So there's our wedding card.